What if a stranger's cry could unlock a hidden past? An old woman's bold move stops a millionaire in his tracks. Get ready for a heart-wrenching reveal. The screech of tires made the crowd gasp as a gleaming red sports car came to a sudden halt in the middle of the street. A few tomatoes rolled across the road, crushed beneath the expensive tires as the elderly black woman fell backward, her woven basket spilling its contents, carrots, cabbage, and parsley, onto the dusty pavement. The car door swung open with force, and a sharply dressed white man in a tailored brown suit stepped out, his expression furious. His polished shoes clicked against the road as he stormed toward her. "Are you insane?" he barked, his voice cutting like a blade. "You just threw yourself in front of my car. You could have been killed." The crowd gathered quickly, their murmurs swelling as they watched the scene unfold. The old woman's wrinkled hands trembled as she tried to gather her vegetables. Her gray hair was tied back in a loose knot, and her tattered shirt bore holes at the shoulders, but she didn't move fast enough. "Don't you have any sense?" the man continued, kneeling sharply and pointing an accusatory finger at her. "Do you know how much damage you could have caused?" But then, she lifted her head. Her eyes locked onto his, firm, unwavering, despite the tears brimming in them. "You're my son," she whispered. The words were soft, yet they hit him harder than any scream. The man froze. What did you just say?" "You're my son," the woman said again, louder this time. Her voice cracked with raw emotion. "I've been looking for you for decades. You are the child they stole from me." The crowd fell silent. "Are you out of your mind?" the man snapped, shaking his head violently. "This is ridiculous. My mother." He stopped abruptly, the words catching in his throat. Because the truth was, his adoptive parents had never spoken much about his birth. The street buzzed with alarm as the red car screeched, its shiny surface glinting in the afternoon sun, tires squashing tomatoes into the dirt. An elderly black woman tumbled back, her woven basket bursting, spilling carrots and cabbage across the rough ground, her gray hair slipping loose. Startled, "Look out!" a voice cried from the crowd, their footsteps quickening, her tattered shirt fluttering like a flag of hardship against the car's wealth. A white man leapt out, his tailored brown suit crisp, his polished shoes tapping with rage as he advanced, his face a storm of anger. Furious, "What's wrong with you?" he yelled, his voice sharp, pointing at her frail form. The dusty road held their clash, the vibrant market colors dimming, the onlookers' whispers rising, the scene a sudden clash of worlds. The old woman's wrinkled hands shook as she reached for her spilled vegetables, her dark skin etched with years, her tear-filled eyes lifting to his with a steady glow. "Tender, you're my son," she breathed, her voice fragile yet fierce, the crowd hushing, the dusty pavement now a sacred space. Her gray hair framed a face lined with love, the moment charged with unspoken years, her tattered shirt a silent story. The man stood rigid, his sharp suit tightening, his accusatory finger dropping as her words pierced him. Stunned, "That can't be," he barked, his voice trembling, a shadow of doubt flickering in his eyes. The market's distant chatter faded, his polished shoes planted firm, her gaze pulling at a buried ache, the air thick with possibility. Her eyes held his, deep and resolute, tears glistening as she spoke again. "Hopeful, I've hunted for you for decades," she said, her voice breaking with longing, the crowd leaning in, the spilled parsley a quiet witness. The man shook his head hard, his tailored suit creasing with denial. Defiant. "My mother's dead," he shouted, but his words stalled, a void in his past surfacing. She pointed, her shaky finger tracing his right hand. "Certain. That crescent birthmark, I held you once," she insisted, her tattered shirt swaying in the breeze. His breath caught, his pale face draining, the street's dust swirling around them, the crowd's silence a heavy blanket, his heart wrestling with a flicker of truth. The old woman's chest rose with emotion, her dark skin marked by struggle, her voice firming with resolve. "Steady. They took you, Your family hid you from me, she said, her gray hair catching the wind, the crowd murmuring softly. The man wobbled, his polished shoes unsteady, his assistant's nervous murmur cutting through. Cautious. Sir, maybe a test? She suggested, her light skin tense. He glared at her, but her words stirred a deep unease, his fist clenching tight. Reluctant. Fine, prove it, he growled, his voice low, the market's vibrant hum fading. The woman nodded, her wrinkled hands pausing, her lips moving in a silent prayer, the street holding its breath, his soul teetering on the edge of discovery. I recognized you, the woman said, clutching her chest. A few months ago, I saw your photo in the paper. You were shaking hands with a politician. And then it was there. She pointed a shaking finger at his right hand. The birthmark. The tiny crescent-shaped mark you've had since you were born. I remember holding you just for a moment before they tore you from my arms. Enough, the man shouted, but his voice wavered. You're confused. You don't know what you're talking about. But inside, something twisted painfully. Could it be true? The old woman's voice hardened. The woman who raised you, she's related to me. A distant cousin. When I got pregnant with you, her family was ashamed. Your father, the man I loved, died in a plane crash before we could marry. And she used her power to take you from me. I had nothing. No money. No influence. They made sure no one knew you were mine. The man staggered back slightly, his face pale. Inside the car, the millionaire sank into the leather seat, his tailored brown suit creased, his pale face clouded with unease, the red vehicle humming softly. Troubled. This can't be real, he muttered, his voice shaky, the polished interior reflecting his turmoil. The street's dust faded from view, but her tearful eyes haunted him, her gray hair a lingering image, his heart a battleground of disbelief. His assistant sat beside him, her light skin tense, her hands clutching a notepad. Cautious. We'll know soon, she said, her tone gentle, the city's blur outside a distant hum. The crescent birthmark on his hand felt heavier, a silent question mark, the car's luxury a hollow shield, his mind wrestling with a past he'd never questioned. At home, he paced a grand room, his polished shoes clicking on marble, his sharp suit a stark contrast to the old woman's tattered shirt in his memory. Restless. What if she's right? He whispered, his voice low, the vibrant chandelier casting shadows of doubt. Her story of a lost love and a stolen child echoed, her dark skin and gray hair vivid, the prayer she murmured a soft ache in his chest. He pulled out a faded photo, his adoptive parents smiling, their silence now suspect. Curious. They hid something, he said, his breath catching, the paper trembling in his hands. The city lights outside glowed, a reminder of his wealth, but her claim unraveled the life he knew, the birthmark a clue to a buried truth, his soul stirring with unease. The next day, he sat in a sterile lab, his tailored brown suit out of place, his pale face drawn, the assistant by his side. Nervous. Let's get this over with, he said, his voice tight, the white walls closing in. The old woman waited outside, her wrinkled hands clasped, her gray hair tied back, her presence a quiet force, the air thick with anticipation. He rolled up his sleeve, the crescent birthmark exposed, a technician's swab cool against his skin. Hesitant. Will this change everything? He asked, his tone faltering, the lab's hum a steady beat. The assistant nodded, her light skin calm, the city's distant pulse urging him forward, his heart teetering on a choice that could rewrite his world. The envelope sat unopened on the marble table. Its edges were crumpled slightly from where the millionaire's hands had gripped it too tightly. His assistant stood in the corner, her lips pressed in a tight line. Sir, she said softly, the results are conclusive. He didn't answer. He was still staring at the woman sitting across from him. Frail, her back bent from years of hardship. Her hands folded neatly in her lap, despite the dirt under her fingernails. The same woman who had stood in front of his car days ago, shouting words that had cracked something deep in him. You're my son. Finally, he tore the envelope open. His eyes scanned the paper. Once, twice, and then they froze. 99.9% probability. The words blurred as his throat tightened. It's true, the woman said softly, tears welling in her tired eyes. You're the baby they stole from me. Why? His voice cracked, raw with pain. Why didn't you come for me? Why didn't you fight them? The woman clasped her hands tighter, her knuckles white. I couldn't, she whispered. You were all I had left of him. But they had money, power. Your adoptive father, his younger brother, loved me. Truly loved me. The man's breath caught. My uncle. Yes, she said, nodding faintly. He was different. He didn't care about color or status. He was going to marry me, even against his family's wishes. But then his plane crashed. He never came back. She paused, swallowing hard. I was pregnant, alone. And your adoptive father, the elder brother, came to me. He said he'd take care of it. I thought he meant helping me. But instead, he took you. He said I wasn't fit to raise a child. That you deserved a life his brother couldn't give you. Days later, the millionaire sat in a quiet office, his tailored brown suit stark against the soft chair, his pale face tense, the unopened envelope await on the marble table. Anxious. This changes everything, he murmured, his voice low, the room's dim light casting shadows. The old woman waited across from him, her dark skin weathered, her gray hair tied back, her folded hands a picture of patience, the air thick with waiting. His assistant stepped forward, her light skin calm, holding the lab report. Gentle. It's ready, she said, her tone steady, sliding the paper toward him. The crescent birthmark on his hand pulsed with memory, the city's faint hum outside a distant echo, the moment teetering on revelation, his fingers trembling as he reached. He ripped the envelope open, his sharp suit creasing with the effort, his pale face draining as the 99.9% probability stared back. Broken. It's real, he gasped, his voice cracking, tears blurring the words. The old woman's tired eyes overflowed, her wrinkled hands clutching her chest. Tearful. My baby, she sobbed, her voice soft, the room filling with their shared pain. He stood abruptly, his polished shoes scuffing the floor, his breath ragged with anger. Angry. Why didn't you save me? He shouted, the marble table a barrier between them. Her gray hair trembled as she shook her head, her dark skin glistening with tears, the city lights outside a mute witness, their hearts clashing in a storm of hurt. The woman leaned forward, her frail frame steadying, her dark skin glowing with resolve. Earnest. I couldn't fight their power, she said, her voice firm, her gray hair catching the light. The man's breath hitched, his uncle's love a new thread in his story. Shocked. My uncle loved you, he asked, his tone softening, the room's silence wrapping them. She nodded, her wrinkled hands tightening. Sincere. He died for us, and they stole you anyway, she whispered, her eyes holding his. His pale face softened, the birthmark a link to her, the city's hum fading, the truth settling like a warm embrace, their bond emerging from the ashes of deception. The millionaire felt his world tilt sideways. All these years, they never told me. They said my mother was gone, that she didn't want me. I always wanted you, she cried softly. But I had nothing. No voice to fight them in court. No power. I knew if I tried, they'd bury me. And you'd suffer. Silence hung thick in the room. The man turned away, running a hand over his face. You let me live in their house. You let me believe they were my real parents. I didn't want to ruin your life, she said. Even if it broke me. I wanted you safe. And I watched from afar, every chance I could. His chest heaved. For a moment, he looked as if he might scream. But then, He saw her. Really saw her. The lines on her face. The calluses on her hands. The tears trembling in her eyes as she waited for a son she wasn't sure would forgive her. "Why did you finally come?" he asked hoarsely. She lowered her head. "I've been tracking you for months. I saw you in the paper shaking hands with a senator. That's when I saw it. The birthmark on your hand. The same crescent-shaped mark you had as a baby. I knew it was you." The man fell silent. "Do you hate me?" she whispered. "For not fighting harder?" He shook his head slowly, tears sliding down his cheeks. "I don't hate you," he said. "I hate them for taking you from me." And then, to everyone's surprise, the powerful, stoic millionaire sank to his knees in front of her. "You're my mother," he whispered, his voice breaking. "You're all I have left of him." The room softened, the marble table a bridge as the millionaire knelt, his tailored brown suit rumpled, his pale face wet with tears, the old woman's dark skin glowing with relief. "Tender, I see you now," he said, his voice shaky, reaching for her wrinkled hands. Her gray hair trembled as she nodded, her eyes shining, the city's faint glow outside a witness to their mending, the air warm with forgiveness. She touched his face, her calloused fingers gentle, her tattered shirt a faded memory. "Loving, my boy," she murmured, her voice soft, the birthmark on his hand a link reborn. The assistant watched from the corner, her light skin misty, the room's dim light cradling their reunion, a step toward healing beginning. They sat together, his sharp suit beside her simple frame, his pale hand holding her dark one, the crescent birthmark a quiet truth. "Peaceful. Tell me about him, my father," he asked, his voice gentle, the marble room echoing with her stories. Her gray hair caught the light as she spoke of love and loss, her eyes alive with memory, the cities hum a soft backdrop to their connection. She smiled, her wrinkled face softening, her tattered shirt hidden under a blanket he offered. "Warm. He was kind, like you," she said, her tone steady, the assistant bringing tea, her light skin warm with approval. The afternoon sun streamed in, their laughter a new thread, a bond growing from pain to promise, the moment sacred. He stood, his polished shoes firm, his tailored brown suit a sign of resolve, turning to his assistant. "Determined. She stays with us," he said, his voice clear, the marble table holding plans for her care. The old woman's dark skin brightened, her gray hair framing a hopeful smile, the city lights outside a pledge of safety, her hands clasping his in gratitude. The assistant nodded, her light skin eager, arranging a room with soft colors. "Hopeful." "It's ready," she said, her tone bright, the room filling with purpose. The birthmark glowed in his mind, a symbol of their future, the afternoon deepening into a vow, their family taking root amidst the echoes of the past. She reached out with trembling hands, cradling his tear-streaked face. "My son," she murmured. "My baby boy." For the first time in decades, she felt his warmth in her arms. And for the first time in his life, he felt whole. The assistant standing in the doorway wiped her own tears as she watched the mother and son embrace. The man spoke again, his voice steady this time. "You'll never go hungry again. You'll never suffer again. From this moment on, you're coming home with me." The crowd outside the office, employees, guards, strangers, watched silently as the millionaire walked out, one arm wrapped around the frail black woman who had once been cast aside. She had been homeless, forgotten, invisible. But today, she was seen. And she was finally, truly, home. In a cozy room, the millionaire sat with his mother, his tailored brown suit softened by a warm throw, his pale face peaceful, her dark skin glowing beside him. "Calm. We're together now," he said, his voice gentle, the soft light bathing their faces. Her gray hair rested against his shoulder, her wrinkled hands tracing his birthmark, the city's quiet hum a lullaby, their wounds mending with each breath. She smiled, her tattered shirt replaced by a gentle robe, her eyes bright with joy. "Serene, "I dreamed of this," she whispered, her tone light, the room filled with the scent of fresh flowers, the assistant's light skin beaming as she adjusted the curtains. The afternoon sun warmed them, healing flowing like a river, their past pain fading into grace. Days later, they shared a meal, his polished shoes under a wooden table, her dark skin radiant in a new dress, their laughter filling the space. "Happy. This is home," he said, his voice firm, the vibrant dishes a celebration. Her gray hair shone in the light, her hands steady as she served, the assistant joining them, her light skin glowing with pride, the city's pulse a distant joy. He held her hand, the crescent birthmark a badge of their bond, his sharp suit a backdrop to her strength. "Grateful. You're my family," he murmured, his tone deep, the room alive with warmth, the windows framing a new dawn. Their family restored, the table a symbol of unity, their story a testament to love reclaimed. Months passed, and they walked a garden, his tailored brown suit elegant, her dark skin basking in the sun, her gray hair flowing free. "Peaceful. We're free now," she said, her voice steady, the vibrant flowers nodding around them. He smiled, his pale face content, the birthmark a quiet link, the city's skyline a gentle guardian, their peace a gift earned. The assistant watched, her light skin warm, presenting a framed photo of their first embrace. "Tender. A memory to keep," she said, her tone soft, the garden's breeze carrying their laughter. The sun set, casting golden hues, their legacy a quiet strength, a lasting peace settling over a family reborn, the world softer for their union. What a beautiful reunion! Did this story warm your heart? Hit that like button, join our family with a subscribe, and share your own family tales in the comments. We'd love to hear.